How would you describe the way you look at this season going into it, like as a Calgary Flame in that dressing room?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit yesterday with Parksy, and I think that I've gotten the sense of a little bit of sense of urgency, a sense of responsibility in terms of I feel like guys know that we're close. I think that most guys have a good grasp on, coming into training camp where the team sits, and I think that most guys that I've talked to and been around, and just from seeing how guys are carrying themselves through the first few days of training camp, I feel like guys have that sense that, this is a possibly a championship team. I think we have that kind of caliber of players in the dressing room. So I think guys are taking it pretty seriously, and there's a sense of, I guess, responsibility in terms of preparation for the upcoming season. It's going to come fast. It's a fast training camp. It's going to be a fast year. So I think guys are taking that seriously and trying to be ready come day one.
Okay, and finally, you playing on the wing, I know you'd probably prefer to play up the middle, but comfortable on the wing, and what's your preference?
Yeah, I think my preference is for sure in the middle, just because that's where I've played a ton, but I think it's easier to go from the middle to the wing than the opposite from the wing to the middle. So, you know what, it's kind of cliche, but I feel like I'm just willing to play wherever, Wardo and the rest of the staff feels I can best help the team. If that's on the wing with whoever it is, then that's great. If that's down the middle, then that's great too. I think that, I had a good conversation with Wardo this morning, and I think it's pretty evident that in a season like this, I didn't play in the lockout season, so it's probably similar to that, but there's going to be injuries. There's going to be, whatever medical situations where guys are going to be in and out of the lineup. So I think being able to have guys to play in different positions is going to be huge, as the games get going.
Thanks, Derek.
Thanks, Eric.
We'll go to Salim next.
Hey, Derek. I know yesterday Jeff was a bit hard on you guys towards the end. He was sort of yelling, and I'm wondering, how you responded to that, and what players sort of derive when their coach uses profanity.
Yeah, Salim, interesting question. I think that's kind of expected, honestly, at this stage in the game. I know that every coach I've had is, when something goes wrong in practice or the coaches are trying to work on a specific thing. And I think at that point we're working on our tracking or our forechecking, whatever it was. And somebody had a misread or a misassignment. Basically, they're just using that as a teaching opportunity and a teaching moment, whether it's for the young guys or even for the veteran guys to reinforce the ideas that they're trying to be practiced there. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. It's just people, being emotional and trying to get the point across and trying to teach people.
Does it make any difference that early on in camp that setting that tone that early into a training camp?
I don't think so. I think that was day 2. I think I've seen it even earlier with first 10 minutes of day 1. I've seen the coaches lose it pretty quickly. So I think making it into day 2 is a success, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go to Danny Austin.
Thanks, Sean. Derek, you guys have these inter-squad games tomorrow and Monday, and coaches talked a lot about sort of trying to replicate the full sort of game day experience. I'm curious, what is your approach to them? I mean, how are you dealing with tomorrow as a whole? Are you pretending on some level that it's a game day?
Well, I think we all are. Yeah, I think that's our responsibility. I think that without having any preseason or exhibition games, those are our preseason or exhibition games, right? I mean, it's kind of funny, I guess, from an outsider to look in, but, those game day routines, hockey players and athletes in general we have pretty good habits and rituals. And so to be able to go through that whole game day routine from waking up, coming to the rink, getting a little sweat and pregame skates, having lunch, having a nap, that whole routine is just something that becomes a bit of a ritual and a habit. So I think being able to go through that is important, just as important as playing the actual game. So I think that's huge. You don't want to go into game one of the regular season, not having gone through that game day routine. So I think that it helps guys to kind of settle in and get used to that game day routine.
So even as a veteran, just reminding yourself of that routine still has value. I mean, you've done it so many times at this point, but it still matters, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've done it a lot of times, literally hundreds of times at the NHL level. But I mean, we had a long off season, and it's funny. Every training camp, you got into other routines and rituals, whether it's going to the gym every morning and then going to skate after that, and then family time with the kids, and it's different. So now it's back in the regular season mode where it's the pregame skate and you're ready to play a legit real hockey game, and so those routines are just different, and we have to get used to those as well.
Hey, Derek, I know you said you didn't get too involved in the World Junior wagering, but can you take us behind the scenes a little? Like, who would be the most boisterous winner today, and what Canadians maybe talked a little too much and have been pretty quiet?
Yeah, well, we're kind of separated into two different groups right now, so I don't get the whole, I think my main comrades there, and like Hanny and Johnny Gaudreau they're in the other group, so I don't have my support staff with me there. But in terms of the Canadian side, I mean, I don't know. Dylan Dubé, obviously Captain Canada there. He's been pretty confident. And I mean, we don't really go back and forth. It's more just fun and games. So there hasn't been a ton in this group, to be honest. But I'm going to take those bragging rights as they come. So I'll hold on to them.
And let me ask you, maybe kind of taking you back a little bit to your university days, you've been in this kind of baseball style schedule where you play the same opponent, 2 or 3 games in a row. What kind of strategic wrinkles does that schedule bring?
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. That's definitely going to be something to watch here as the season unfolds. I mean, not only for us, but every team in the league, right? You have those kind of mini series, and you see that in baseball, but hockey is just a little different. There's a little more animosity, there's a little more, I don't want to say emotion, and guys getting mad at each other, sick of each other, I guess is a better way to put it. So there's probably going to be some more deeper rivalries born out of this format and this setup. So I don't know exactly how it's going to unfold, but there's definitely going to be some little mini playoff series strategies in terms of how you prepare for those games.
Thanks, Derek.
Yep.
Go to Haley next.
Hi, Derek. Yesterday, Andrew Mangiapane spoke a little bit about, his desire to elevate his game to be a truly elite player in this league. I'm just curious for a teammate's assessment of that.
Yeah, Manji, I've seen him kind of enter the league here and kind of make a name for himself. So it's been fun to see him do that. It's been fun to reminisce with him a little bit about our days playing together with Hathaway. We had a lot of good times there, but I think he's really just, as you've seen him play more and more games, you see him become more and more confident, holding on to pucks and making, elite plays instead of, as you're a younger player and you're kind of trying to break into the league, you're trying to make the simple plays, and now he's making the higher end plays. And I think he definitely has that potential. I know I talked to him about it, and I've talked to several people about it before he even became, a top 6 guy or whatever you want to call him. And so I think he definitely is on that trajectory to become an elite player in the league, if he's not already there, arguably.
Okay, we'll go to Ryan Pike.
Hey, Derek. Just sort of jumping off of Danny's question about using the scrimmages as sort of a mock preseason. With no preseason games, you don't really have the ability, I guess, to ratchet up the intensity. So when you're playing against your own teammates, how do you find the sweet spot in terms of how to be, because you don't want to hurt your teammates, obviously, but you also want to sort of be ready for the live bullets to fire on the 14th, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's a hard line to walk there, but I also think it's kind of like that way in preseason. Even if you're not playing your own teammates, you're playing the other team, and guys are kind of going through the motions a little bit. Guys don't want to get hurt. They want to just kind of get into the rhythm of things. So I don't think it's super different in that regard. I think guys, maybe even more so now that we're playing each other, we can push each other a little more, especially the veteran guys. I think that's part of our responsibility, is to make sure the pace is high and make sure guys are taking it as seriously as possible. That being said, obviously we don't want anyone to get hurt, but we have to take it seriously and play like a real game. So I don't think it's much different than a preseason game, to be honest.